And we've got maybe arguably one of the bigger mainstream moments in company history. It happens on the build for this WrestleMania. It's when The Rock was the guest host for Saturday Night Live. We had cameos with Big Show, Mick Foley, Vince McMahon, and Triple H all appearing. The show does a 8.3 rating, and it gets a 21 share on the overnights. This is a massive success. How excited were you to see WWE doing something with Saturday Night Live? I know you're an old school guy and you grew up on Saturday Night Live. And how big of a deal was The Rock being the guest host? Like, were you guys worried right away? Uh-oh, he ain't going to be long for this world.
Well, yeah, I'm old. And I remember Saturday Night Live when it first appeared on television.
Yeah.
Going, back to Land Shark and just the emergence of John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd and Chevy Chase, and just it was this cultural just phenomenon that continued on. The first time that WWE superstars would be on was with Hulk Hogan and Mr. T before WrestleMania 1. Now you fast forward 16 years and you have The Rock guest hosting, and we were able to spotlight everyone that was going to be in the main event. Now this is the night before WrestleMania. So huge promotional opportunity for us to be able to have our biggest stars on this huge stage, live television, NBC, live from New York, and then get on a plane and head on out to Anaheim to do the show. So it was great. I thought Rock was absolutely magnificent in hosting that night. Everybody was. It showed Big Show, had this incredible sense of humor and timing that was, we call it Big Show timing. So it spotlighted everyone beautifully and was a great plug for tomorrow's show. So yeah, and looking at it, you saw the beginnings of The Rock and his just movie career is entertainment. Look, it started out, he's a natural. He's an absolute natural. So you got to see it at that point, and a larger audience outside of our world got to see it.
It's amazing to think of all the moving parts that are happening in and around the wrestling space at this time. We just mentioned that you guys have given notice. You at least want to negotiate to leave USA. You're getting more mainstream publicity and criticism, but clearly Viacom and CBS and others, they don't care. And on the other channel, man, they're just grasping at straws. WCW makes the announcement that they're going to have Vince Russo and Eric Bischoff start working together in early April. And they're going to reset all the storylines on the other channel, strip all the champions, the whole deal. Eric Bischoff, of course, is the guy who famously put Raw on ice for 83 weeks. And Vince Russo is the guy who famously took credit for Raw making the big comeback. And now they're both working together in WCW. You didn't really know Eric at that point, but you knew Vince Russo. What'd you think of that news when you heard that they were going to work together in WCW?
Immediately, and again, I didn't know Eric.
Right.
Just met him one time for his audition here, and just knew of him and stories from people who had worked with him. The feeling was the egos would never work together. While in the beginning, you would think, okay, hey, I could see them selling one another to each other. But I don't think that anyone had the confidence to think, all right, man, these egos are going to work well together. And I think history would prove that they did not. But it wasn't oh my God. It was a, oh my gosh. What's this going to be? And I think that, they proved it by the very first show that they had, by having everybody together and say, hey, folks, this is all the work. None of this is real. And we're going to now write these storylines better. Like, you take away my suspension of disbelief. I know that a movie isn't real, but you don't come out at the top and say, okay, folks, none of this is real. So I just thought the approach, my opinion, was not a good one. And to throw away everything, the history that had been done, I always think that you need to work from a foundation. If you're going to change it, work from that foundation and change it, and make it gradual, make it make sense, versus saying, okay, take all that away. And maybe sometimes you have to start brand new, but I did not think the approach was the right approach.
The XFL is going to strike a deal with NBC to air shows on prime time on Saturday nights. And Vince is getting stretched a little thin here. Would that be fair to say?
Not really at this point. You know, that was to come later on. Okay. I think as we got closer to it and what it all is. By this point, it was, you know, simply a concept and an announcement, and the groundwork was beginning, but it was stretched into this point. No, not even. But the deal with NBC was a huge deal because the XFL didn't have a television partner when they announced.
Right.
They announced, you know, without a television partner, and just wanted to create a groundswell. Didn't exactly know how they were going to be able to distribute this. And there was hope with the relationship with Viacom that, okay, we'll leverage this to get the XFL. And Dick Ebersol and NBC came in. Dick was president of the sports for NBC and made an offer. And it was one of those situations where, do you have anything? Well, no, we don't. Okay, we'd like to offer you something. And it was a great offer. So timing's everything, man.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson here to tell you a little more about what adfreeshows.com is all about. Get early, ad-free access to more than a dozen of your favorite wrestling podcasts every single week, starting at just $9. That's less than 20 cents an episode each month. And yes, you can listen to them all directly through Apple Podcasts or your regular podcast apps. How easy is that? Ad-free shows also has thousands of hours worth of bonus content and docuseries like Title Chase, Eric Fires Back, Conversations with Conrad, and The Insiders. Plus new series like The Book with David Crockett, Monday Mailbags with Mike Chioda and Nick Patrick, and a whole lot more. And you want to talk about early? You can't get any earlier than listening to the shows live. You can be a part of the live studio audience as we record the podcast. Plus, ride shotgun alongside your favorite childhood heroes for live watch-alongs, Q&As, and other interactive experiences every single month. Come on now, see for yourself what thousands of other wrestling fans from around the world have discovered, that adfreeshows.com is the best value in wrestling. Check it out today, and hey, when you do, the first week is completely free. adfreeshows.com.